Welcome into the Commanders Report. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Thank you guys for joining me here on an NFL Sunday. Fortunately, the Washington Commanders are not playing today, but they do play tomorrow on Monday Night Football versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And today we're going to be breaking down the latest injury updates for both sides of this matchup and how it impacts this Monday night matchup. Tomorrow, Ponzi and I will be live here on the Commanders Report for our extensive live watch party. Over an hour of pregame coverage, followed by live play-by-play and live analysis of the game itself, followed by extensive post-game coverage. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already to join the largest individually run Commanders news channel anywhere here on YouTube for daily coverage of the Burgundy and Gold. All right, so we'll start with the Commanders injury updates here heading into this one. We learned earlier in the week, Jaden Daniels, quarterback, going to be out this week with that hamstring injury, but there is hope that he could play next week on Sunday Night Football versus the Seattle Seahawks. Hopefully he's going to be able to do that. But Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, and Sam Cosmi all, kind of up in the air this week. To some degree, we had a good feeling about Terry and Deebo playing this week. They are officially off the injury report in terms of injury designations. They will play on Monday night, and it's the first time that they're going to be playing in the same game together in quite a while. So hopefully now that you have both Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel, you're going to be able to get Marcus Mariota back to the level of play that he was playing at last year when he had Terry McLaurin in the lineup, and he was one of the best backup quarterbacks in the National Football League, especially when he had McLaurin as a receiving option. That's also going to just elevate the rest of this passing game as a whole, in my opinion. It's going to open up opportunities for the other wide receivers that are going to have an opportunity in this game. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Robbie Chosen's going to be able to do in this game. I hope he gets the most snaps between him, between Jalen Lane, between Luke McCaffrey, between Chris Moore. I'm hoping Robbie Chosen is actually that number 3 option because he actually showed off some good route running chops, and he still has some speed as well to separate to all levels of the field. So I'm excited to see what this receiving core looks like because this is the best it's looked in several weeks at this point in time. And then to get Sam Cosmi still in the lineup here after suffering a little bit of a back issue. There was some question as to whether or not he was going to be able to go this week, but he was able to fully practice by the end of the week, and he's going to be good to go for Monday night. So you're going to be full kind of steam ahead here on the offensive line, which is good news. But then the questionables, all right, Daron Payne, somebody we haven't talked about on the channel this week as a potential questionable, is officially questionable this week with a toe injury, and he hasn't practiced all week on that toe injury, which is very concerning. Daron Payne, very big, literally presence in this Commanders defense, and if he's not playing, that means you got Javon Kinlaw, Jerzon Newton, Eddie Goldman. Like, those guys could probably hold down the fort, but Payne, last week versus the Cowboys, he was the best defensive player on the Commanders team, and even that effort wasn't enough for this defense to be able to hold down a really good Cowboys offense. So if you don't have Daron Payne out there, that's yet another really, really good player on your defense that you are down. You're already down Dorrance Armstrong. You're already down Dietrich Wise, right? There's so many players on this Commanders defense that are already down with injury. To lose Daron Payne this week would be a big deal. And then Matt Gay, the kicker, is also going to be questionable, so they may have to play a kicker that has no experience playing in games this year for the Washington Commanders if Matt Gay is not going to be able to go. And even if he does go, he's been pretty inconsistent. So I would say field goals and special teams in general, kickoffs, it's going to be it could be an adventure for the Washington Commanders on Monday night, yet another potential disadvantage that they have going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. However, on the Chiefs side, with their injury report, Trey Smith, their starting right guard, is going to be doubtful to play in this game. Mike Caliendo, his backup, is expected to play at right guard. And, of course, Josh Simmons, their left tackle, who has been out for a number of weeks at this point. Apparently he's going through a personal tragedy in his life, and he can't be with the team right now, has to take care of his family, and of course our thoughts and prayers go out to Josh and his family. Hopefully he can get that situation sorted out and he can return to the field, but he will be out for this game on Monday Night Football versus the Commanders. So that is 2 members of their starting offensive line that are going to be out, and plain and simply, the Commanders need to take advantage of that. All right, and I think really the big way that the Commanders can stay in this ball game is that they win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And we've seen this Commanders team be able to do that throughout the course of the season. All right, they actually did a pretty decent job holding up on the line of scrimmage in the Green Bay game. They did a good job holding up the line of scrimmage to some degree in the Atlanta game, in the Charger game. All right, this is a team on both sides of the ball that has shown that they can, hold their own at the line of scrimmage. The thing is, the last 2 weeks, they have regressed heavily in that regard on both sides. The offensive line went from being one of the better run blocking units in the National Football League to not being able to run block for Bill Krosky-Merritt or Jeremy McNichols or anybody over the last 2 weeks. And that's particularly concerning because you go up against two really, soft defensive fronts, if I'm being completely honest with you, in Chicago and the Dallas Cowboys. Those teams really struggle to stop the run, and they were able to shut this run game down the last 2 weeks. And the defense has been able to hold the line of scrimmage. It's really been the stuff on the perimeter. It's been, it's been the coverage aspect of the Commanders' defense that has really struggled this year. But over the last 2 weeks versus a Chicago offense, which really hasn't run the ball like super well this year, and the Cowboys run offense, which is pretty good, but not like superstar, like stellar level good. They were able to run the football very effectively against this Commanders team the last 2 weeks. So I think the big X factor for whether or not the Commanders are going to be competitive in this game is how well they hold up front. If they can't generate a run game, if the Chiefs are able to run the football on them, all these different things, there's just not going to be anything for the Commanders to hang their hat on, because I don't think they have the horses in the secondary to hold up against the Chiefs' dynamic playmakers on the perimeter. And then on defense, I don't think they have the playmakers in the secondary, or then on offense, I should say. I'm not sure if they have necessarily the horsepower to, beat Patrick Mahomes in a shootout if they don't have the run game to kind of be the foundation of the offense. So I'm looking at this matchup right now, guys, and I can't say that I love the Commanders' chances, but some good news is that it sounds like Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. are starting to kind of understand that they need to start making some changes. They need to play faster. They said this week, and they said, I think it was 2 days ago, that Jordan McGee, second-year linebacker out of Temple, is going to be getting more time to play now, which probably means less playing time for Bobby Wagner. They're even going to be giving Jordan McGee a green dot helmet, which tells me that there's going to be certain instances where they take Bobby Wagner off the field and they give Jordan McGee those play-calling duties in those moments. So that's certainly a step in the right direction. Of course, with that new change, though, with McGee now having to communicate and call plays, something that he hasn't done with the Washington Commanders, at least in a regular season capacity in his young career, that's certainly going to be something that's going to be new to him, and he's going to have to master pretty quickly, especially against a really good Chiefs offense and really buttoned up Chiefs offense, to be able to generate success. So definitely an intriguing matchup tomorrow. I'm excited to see what Mariota's going to be able to do. I'm excited to see what Robbie Chosen's going to be able to do. I'm excited to see what Terry McLaurin looks like coming off of his injury. I'm excited to see what Cliff Kingsbury has cooked up in terms of his game plan. We've seen some really good game plans from Cliff this year. And I'm excited to see, what Jordan McGee is going to be able to do with, these supposedly more snaps that he's going to be getting in this football game. And, hopefully Daron Payne is going to be able to give it a go. Hopefully Matt Gay is going to be able to give it a go. If you lose those two guys, that's going to give you an advantage on defense and on special teams, which you really can't afford to take any more disadvantages heading into this ball game. But if the Commanders can pull off this win, guys, if they can go into Arrowhead tomorrow night and beat this Chiefs team when they are at the height of their powers, I mean, that's going to tell the world here that the Commanders aren't done yet. All right, they're sitting at 500, and they probably still have some more issues that they need to iron out. They need to get Jaden Daniels healthy, all these different things. But if you can go into Arrowhead on primetime football without your star quarterback and still get a victory, that's going to put the league on notice. Okay, so Commanders are somewhat playing with house money, but also they need to get things going, because if they lose tomorrow, they're sitting at 3-5, and the road begins to get more and more narrow in terms of their chances of making the NFL postseason. So Commanders need to become ready to play tomorrow. They need to take the fight to the Chiefs, and they need to make them worried, and start fast, finish strong, all those different things. Play the cleaner game. Don't turn the football over. Don't have self-inflicted wounds. Allow the Chiefs to make those critical mistakes. And if those things happen, along with winning the line of scrimmage, If all those things happen and you get your ducks in a row there, the Commanders may have a chance to win this. We'll see what ends up happening tomorrow night. Like I said, guys, we will be live tomorrow starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for our coverage of Monday Night Football. Pre-game coverage followed by live play-by-play and analysis and extensive post-game. You're not going to want to miss any of that coverage tomorrow, guys. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, hail to the Commanders.